actually hurt.
No, I think she is.
Yeah, she's hurt. She took a hard fall off there.
Okay.
Gosh, I hope she's okay.
All right, welcome into the Daily Puck Drop here on Tuesday, April 23rd. We appreciate wherever, however you're watching, whether it's on YouTube, Puck Sports, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you find your podcast. We appreciate it every single day. Again, we do the Daily Puck Drop every day. It comes out at 10 a.m., the DPD. All of our interviews and guests come out at 1 o'clock today. It's a Tuesday. That means it's John Canzano Day, all brought to you by Zeke's Pizza. So that episode with Canzano will come out at 1 o'clock today. John's undergoing knee surgery. So we'll talk about that and everything else that's going on in college athletics and really get his thoughts on the quarterbacks that are coming out of the Pac-12 that will be prominently featured in the NFL draft coming up this weekend. Speaking of the NFL draft, dropping later today at 1 o'clock, again, on all of these platforms that you can watch and listen to, my dear friend Danny Kelly. Danny Kelly, who now has become a big superstar there on that Spotify Ringer platform. He does all things NFL, fantasy football podcast, daily NFL content, NFL draft on the Ringer. Danny will join me today. That episode, along with Canzano, comes out at 1 o'clock. For those who don't remember, Danny and I and Scott Inyart, who now is a football coach at Bothell High School, probably about 14 years ago. I think we were like the first ones in this thing. Like 14 years ago, started a podcast. Those guys were writing at a website, which is still around, and a great website, a Seahawks-based website called Field Goals. Not goals, but gulls. Field Goals. Fieldgoals.com. So I just started reading those guys, and they were great. And Danny was always a funny writer and always enjoyed Scott. So I just reached out to him and said, you guys want to do a podcast? We'll just once a week, we'll talk Seahawks football. And that was 14 years ago, probably. Started doing it. It was fun. And look at us now. He's a big star, and I'm starting my own podcast right here, Puck Sports. We should have just started it back then. So, again, all those episodes and all episodes come out at 1 o'clock. All right, let's get into the rundown, what we're going to do today here on the Daily Puck Drop, the DPD. We're going to talk about Hunter Wendelstedt, who, again, is just an idiot. He's an umpire, if you don't know that story. What happened yesterday in Major League Baseball, we'll cover that. Mariners start a series with the Rangers. We'll touch on that. NFL draft is getting closer. The playoffs are here. Got an announcement on the playoffs, also an announcement on the NFL draft that we'll talk about. Ron Francis gave his exit interview discussing the future of Dave Haxtell and others. Was not a ringing endorsement. And lastly, offbeat story, crystal meth and your effort to lose weight. We'll explain that coming up in the Daily Puck Drop, the DPD. All right, let's get to Hunter Wendelstedt for a second. So we discussed this a little bit on yesterday's program, the Jim Duquette episode. Jim, of course, who joins us on Mondays, brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. And this was happening in real time as Jim and I were taping the pod, is that we're watching the game between the Yankees and the A's, and Hunter Wendelstedt and Aaron Boone are going at it right at the beginning of the game. I mean, he was ejected 5 pitches in. So it was already an issue between these guys. And as they're arguing back and forth over a call, whether or not the hitter went around, as they're arguing that and going back and forth, and Aaron Boone has had a reputation of having a temper and going at umps, but there's nothing that was out of the ordinary. So Hunter Wendelstedt just turns around to him and says, if you keep it up, I'll run you. Just stop. And right when he said that, he turns back around, puts his mask on, and someone from the crowd who is right behind Aaron Boone yells something. Wendelstedt thinks that it's Aaron Boone and immediately ejects Aaron Boone. There is video from the Yes Network and audio because it's all picked up. It's clear. It's absolutely clear that it was not Aaron Boone, that it was clearly this fan, this Yankees fan, sitting directly behind the dugout about 1 row in. Because of the camera angle, you can see the fan saying what he said, Aaron Boone not saying anything, and then Wendelstedt reacting immediately to what he heard. So Hunter Wendelstedt is saying, and he told Aaron Boone, that he was probably right that a fan yelled at him. But then he went on to say, I mean, he's contradicting himself all over the place. He says, I don't care who said it, you're gone. And then he went after, and then afterwards he's talked, because there is no accountability for these guys, by the way. They talked to one pool reporter. That's it. Just one person, not a bevy of them, just one. And he says, I've never ejected a player or manager for something a fan has said. Well, yeah, you just did it. You literally just did that. He is now claiming and doubling down on it that something was said at the other end of the bench. He is completely lying. And what I don't know from the pool reporter, did the pool reporter tell him that there's video evidence of this? Because when Hunter Wendelstedt goes back and Major League Baseball goes back and looks at this, they're going to clearly see that he ejected Aaron Boone because of what the fans said. Not that anybody down in the dugout. It's clear as day. Here's the problem with these guys. And if baseball is more than anything, but you see it in the NBA a lot. You don't see it so much as I feel like in the NFL. These guys, especially the older guys, they are the ego of these baseball umpires is out of control. It just is. And they can never admit when they're wrong. They can never adjust on the fly. They can never just get together and say, okay, what happened there? What did you guys see? Did he ever bring in anybody else? When Boone came out to explain to him what had happened, why didn't he just call in all the other people and say, all the other umpires and say, did you guys see something differently? Like, what am I missing? I'm not one of these baseball fans that sits there and wants like all these guys replaced by robotics. I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, robots are coming, the automated balls and strikes. That will happen in baseball. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I get it. We want to get it right. There is always going to be a human element of an umpire to make calls at home and to just move the game along. So there'll always be a place, but they will be replaced in terms of what they call by an eye in the sky, a computer, and what we see, the tracer, what we see on TV, that's just going to happen. And it's been effective in minor league baseball. And I guess, listen, if we got the technology to do it, let's do it. These guys feel threatened, and so they're acting out. But I don't know why these guys, for some reason, these umpires, especially baseball, they just cannot accept being wrong. And it's okay to be wrong. They're human. We're all human. It happens. Mistakes, it's part of sports. The players make mistakes. The coaches make mistakes. The umpires make mistakes. But if he doesn't come out here in the next 24 hours, like immediately, and the Baseball Umpires Association, whoever, and make a statement where they apologize to the Yankees, Aaron Boone, and Major League Baseball, then there is zero credibility left with these umpires. Zero. Because you have to just acknowledge I almost swore. I know I can swear on this platform too. It's so stupid, but I'm just so used to radio. Okay, you fucked up. You did. Just admit it. Just admit that you screwed up. It's okay. No one's going to, if you just come out today or even then and just said, Aaron, I got it wrong. My bad. You're back in the game. I believe you. Let me talk to the other crew. I'll take your word for it. You're not ejected. Or after the game. But he doubled down after the game. And he's lying. And the problem is he's covered up by the people that run these umpires. And this union that just allows to put this suboptimal product of officials and umpires out on the field day in and day out. Guys like Wendelstedt, guys like C.B. Buckner, Angel Hernandez, they just, especially those last two, they have no business being part of this game anymore. They're inherently probably not bad umpires, but they've allowed themselves to be a part of the game. And you do not want to be a part of the game, but they want to be. But Major League Baseball, I mean, they need to come out with a statement, and they need to have some oversight with these guys. This is their product. Rob Manfred should have the ability. He can suspend players, can he? Why can't he not suspend umpires? Why can Hunter Wendelstedt not be fined or suspended? And let that be public, not private, they want to be a part of the game, then let them be part of the game. And the other thing, too, that just, it always pisses me off with all these officials. We put coaches up there. We put players up there to answer questions. Oh, but when it comes to the officials, no. There's only one person that can talk to them, and that's it. Put them up there. Let them get grilled by 10, 15, 20 independent journalists and see how it feels. You know what? It's going to make them better. They won't screw around. They won't hide. The bad look for baseball there on Monday. Awful look. And they need to do something about it. Mariners and Rangers are coming up later today here on Tuesday as we record this. I kind of combined Mariners and Rangers. Did you notice that? A great pitching matchup tonight. Logan Gilbert, 1-0 with an ERA of 2.33. He goes up against Dane Dunning, who's 2-1 with a 3.91 ERA. It's early in the season. Mariners a half game out. I look at this as a test for them. Now, I'm not going to, whether they pass it or fail it, not going to react crazy one way or the other. But yeah, this is a team that, okay, World Series, wins your division, one of the best teams in the American League. I'd like to see how they perform, okay? I'd like to see how they look against these guys because they're going to have to knock them off in order to get to where they want to get there in the American League. So it's a good test for them. Texas dominated them last year too. Just absolutely beat the crap out of them. They won 9 of 13. They swept them in all games in Texas. They've got the advantage pitching-wise in every single game. So at minimum, they got to take at least 2 out of 3 against these guys. Let's see if the offense continues. It looked better against Colorado. I do agree with Bill Kruger on yesterday's podcast when he said, yes, they looked better, especially Julio. Let's keep in mind, though, that they were going up against the Colorado Rockies, who are terrible, and their pitching staff is terrible. And it's a good point, and you have to just at least acknowledge that. So M's and Rangers start a 3-game series in Texas coming up on Tuesday night. NFL draft is getting closer. What do you want the old Seahawks to do at number 16? I mentioned before, Danny Kelly from The Ringer is on today's show. That episode drops at 1 o'clock. He has got the Seahawks taking Troy Fautanu, offensive lineman, University of Washington. I agree here with Danny. And again, Danny Kelly, we did the podcast way back in the day. Now he's again at The Ringer. I agree with Danny's assessment. If Fautanu is there, you run, you sprint. And I know they don't do this anymore. I wish they did. You sprint to the podium and you give that little card, right? That they have these little cards with the names. You give them the name Fautanu and run away. Okay, I know drafting offensive lineman isn't sexy, especially in the first round, and I get the pull that there will be. And shoot, there's going to be a pull for me. Likely Penix is sitting there at 16. You know you need a quarterback at some point in the future. And I think for a lot of just college sports fans and Seahawks fans and Husky fans, I get it. Cougar fans, everybody. You watched Michael Penix play. You see how talented the guy is. And you know how valuable the quarterback is in the NFL. But I think right now they need to just get better on the interior offensive line. It has been killing them for years. We discuss it today when it comes out at 1 o'clock with Danny Kelly on the podcast that they just, since the Super Bowl year, since they won it, they just have not been good up front, especially on the inside. They get pushed around. I don't think they intimidate anyone. They're not physical. They don't have an attitude to them. You know, when you line up, I want this offensive line, this team in general. You come in and play the Seahawks, you're going to get your ass kicked. You're prepared for a war, a battle, and it takes place inside the trenches. And I know it's cliche, but it's true. Every one of these football games is won inside. It for the most part of it. It's always won up front. We all know that. It's just stupid every time we talk about the NFL. Well, if you win the trenches, you're going to win the game. Because it's rinse and repeat. But for these guys specifically, they're set with the tackles. I'm just going to assume Abe Lucas is healthy for now. But they're set with Lucas. They're set with Charles Cross. They need to desperately improve on the interior line. And Fautanu is just the perfect mix of that. Team leader, knows the system, Obviously, Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator, so he knows all the terminology that he's going to bring over. And Scott Huff is his offensive line coach with the Seahawks and was his offensive line coach there with UW. So just run, please run to the podium if he is there. If he is there. So Seahawks, as you know, will pick first round. They got a first round pick, 16. Only one in the third round. So remember, no second round pick. This is why, and we'll get to Puck's draft watch party later, I need them to desperately make a pick at 16 and not trade down. But something tells me they're going to trade down to acquire a second round pick. We shall see. But no second round pick, third round pick, 2 in the 4th, no 5th, 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. So likely they're going to add picks, and the way to add picks is, again, perhaps moving down in the first round to acquire a second round pick, trying to maintain themselves in the first round, so we shall see. But you all know we've all been watching it together. We've all been listening to it together. He loves to have multiple picks, and he loves to do it. I think selecting a quarterback is going to be massively tempting for him. I think Penix is tempting for them at 16. I'm not sure if they've clearly made up their mind on it. Maybe they have. I don't know. But you look at this group of quarterbacks, and we'll discuss this with John Canzano today on his podcast that releases at 1 o'clock as well. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Penix, and Bo Nix. So we're looking at, what is my math broke? Because that's 6 of them. Now, are all 6 going to be selected in the first round? You probably think, well, at least 4 are. Williams, Daniels, May, McCarthy. We assume McCarthy goes. Yeah, McCarthy's going in the first round. Question is, does Penix or Nix? Penix seems to be the likely one, so 5 of the 6. Let's just assume here for argument's sake, all 6 get going in the first round. History tells this, guys, right? At least 2, probably 3 of these guys are going to be complete busts. At least. And especially guys that are going to be in the top 10. If we look at most mocks have Williams, Daniels, May all going in the top 10 of those 3. My guess is 2 of those 3 are busts. At least 1, but probably 2. Well, who's it going to be? Now, I'm convinced it's not going to be Caleb Williams. He's going to go number 1 of the Bears. There's nothing that I've looked at Caleb Williams for the last 2 years we watch Pac-12 football that I go, well, he's not the guy. I get it. They didn't have the success, especially his last year, that you probably would think a number 1 overall pick would have. Is that about him, or is it about the people around him, the talent around him? Not so much offensively, but the way they played defensively. They had to score on every possession because really Lincoln Riley just doesn't care about defense. I haven't seen a better quarterback off script, in the pocket, physical arm strength than Caleb Williams. He's an absolute home run. Didn't really watch Drake May all that much because he played in North Carolina. All right. I mean, but remember 2 years ago, he was like the guy that everyone raved about. Feels like this last year he kind of slipped a little bit and list in terms of the guys that kind of scout all this stuff. The one guy I just can't get past, and Danny and I talked about this today, is Jaden Daniels. I cannot get past Jaden Daniels at Arizona State. I just can't. And I know what he looked like at LSU, and I know how good he was, and the Heisman, all of it. But I just cannot erase the Sun Devil version of Jaden Daniels. And that version was bad. Was a bad quarterback. Was not good. So everybody can get improved. Everybody can get better. I just think he's the one that's going to be the bust. That he's the one that's taken in the top 3, and he's the one that doesn't come out. He's slight. He's not a big guy. He likes to take off and run, especially when pressure comes at him. He's going to get killed in the NFL. Please stop with this Lamar Jackson 2.0. He is not Lamar Jackson. Yes, he's fast. Yes, he can run. He is not twitchy like Lamar. There are 2 quarterbacks that fit that bill. Lamar Jackson and Michael Vick. They were twitchy. Jaden Daniels is not twitchy. And Jaden Daniels, who likes to run and take off, and he's going to get hit and he's going to get crushed. He's a slight dude. He doesn't look any bigger now than when he came in as a freshman at ASU than this last year with the LSU Tigers. So my gut just tells me he's the one that's going to be the bust. He likely goes number 2 to Washington, not going to slip down at number 3 with New England. And as Danny and I discussed later today on that podcast, looks like he will slip, or the Patriots will probably trade out of that number 3 pick anyways. So the Seahawks on the quarterback front brought in 3, right? Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler, and this Plumlee guy out of Central Florida. They brought them in for one of their 30 unofficial visits. They already know Penix, so they don't need to bring him in because of Ryan Grubb. They talked to Michael Pratt of Tulane, I think at the Combine, and then they met also with J.J. McCarthy at the Combine. Pratt could be an option late. Mel Kiper loves him as his day 3 guy. He's like day 3 kind of all-star, 4th, 5th round. So if you're looking for a quarterback, keep an eye out on that Michael Pratt guy of Tulane. I don't think they're going to be in play for McCarthy because obviously I think we almost all agree McCarthy's gone, clearly going to be gone before the Seahawks there pick at 16. But again, I don't get the McCarthy hype either. If he was so good and he could have been this great quarterback in college, and we could have put so much more on his plate, then why didn't they? They never did. And this talk that Michigan runs this offense, this system in the NFL, what NFL team hands the ball off 35 straight times? You all watch it. Can you name another NFL team that lined up and ran the ball 35 times in a game? I don't think they really ran an NFL system. They just like old school system, but not anything that you see in today's NFL. I'm not convinced that he's going to be some superstar in the league. I just think he checks a lot of boxes. Looks like the All-American quarterback, right? Gets off the bus. You're like, oh yeah, that's our guy. That's the high school guy on Friday Night Lights. Not so sure he will translate there to the NFL. All right, we announced this yesterday, but I'll remind everyone, please. I got somebody that texted me. Doesn't say that you're a part of this. I thought it was fairly obvious that I was, but I am hosting, so I'll just make it clear because there's a poster that we put out on social media. I'm hosting Puck's Draft Watch Party Thursday starting at 5 o'clock. We're going to be live on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, the Puck Sports YouTube channel. Just search it up. Also on X, at Puck2040, 2040 on Twitter. It will also be up at pucksports.com. Mike Garafolo will be on with me for a lot of it from the NFL Network, from inside the NFL Network studios in Los Angeles. So he's going to be tracking picks, trades. He'll probably be in and out of the show that we're doing, distracted. He's working with Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport. We have got an insider who is inside the Draft Network Central doing the show with us on Thursday. I'll repeat this. There is no one that has that access this week doing a draft show. No one. So we'll be live. We got no commercials. We are flying through the whole first round. It lasts 3 hours. I'll be on for 3 hours. So this is why I need the Seahawks to pick at 16. Please don't trade down. Can we just make a pick at 16? But Garafolo is going to be with us on Thursday for Puck's Draft Watch Party. Again, for that one person that texted me, yes, I'll be on it. I'm hosting it. 5 o'clock on YouTube. Also on X. Rob Staten from SeahawksDraftBlog.com will be there as well. Check out his blog and his Seahawks work at SeahawksDraftBlog.com. Also, we will go to the Virginia Mason Athletic Center and get three of my best friends who cover the Seahawks. Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times will jump on. Curtis Crabtree of Fox 13 will be there, and Tim Booth of the Associated Press. I kind of mumbled and jumbled that one. Associated Press. It's not hard to say. Again, Thursday, Puck's Draft Watch Party, live show starting at 5 o'clock. It's on YouTube. Search Puck Sports. Also on X, formerly Twitter. Just go to my Twitter handle at Puck2040. And then, of course, at pucksports.com. Quickly, NBA playoffs last night. Incredible night. I know there's some of you out there that hate the NBA. It's dead because of the Sonics and all that. Fine. Never going to convince you. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. But you missed fantastic games last night. Jamal Murray, who struggled on all night long, step back, winning shot over Anthony Davis. What a perfect shot, falling into the arms of his teammates as the Nuggets rally from 20 down to knock off the Lakers to take a commanding 2-0 lead. Is, I believe, the 9th straight win the Nuggets have over those guys there in the playoffs. Then you had the Knicks winning on a game winner, DiVincenzo with the game winner over the Sixers, which was just an incredible scene of the rebound after the first miss to get it back, the fouls that were happening all over the place. That was incredible. the Jalen Brunson interview on the floor where he can't hear the questions. I mean, that is the mecca of basketball, is New York City, Madison Square Garden. If you've never been there, just go there and see it. And to see the Knicks, who are one of the prominent franchises in the league, now have success, and to see that crowd, that energy, awesome. Because there's no other place like it. Back to the Lakers-Nuggets game. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, bitching and bitching and bitching after the game about the officiating. It is generally really pathetic when you blame the officials after a game when you lose, especially when you blow a 20-point lead. The officials didn't blow that. You guys blew it, and the Nuggets took it from you. So don't spend your entire time up there and walk out on the press because you want to blame the officials because replay didn't get something right. That's not the reason you lost. It's not the reason you blew a 20-point lead. You lost because the other team is frankly better, and they just are. And they're most likely are going to sweep you in this series. All right? That's it. It's just, again, it's lame when you go back to the officiating or you walk out because you're so upset. Be upset, and that's why they walked out. They're upset because they blew a golden opportunity to even up that series. Cavs are up 2-0 on Orlando. Darius Garland, you may not watch him. Go watch him. He's phenomenal. He just gets to the rim, step back. He's got the entire package. Cavs are a fun team that you really don't know about. But they're going to make some noise there in the Eastern Conference. We mentioned the Knicks. They're up 2-0 on the Sixers. Loved what Embiid said after the game. Hey, we should have won both games, and he's kind of right. And now all they got to do is go back home to Philadelphia, win 2. They've evened up the series. Knicks did what they were supposed to do, right? Tonight, Minnesota, who's up 1-0 against the Suns. Bucks up 1-0 to the Pacers, thanks to Damian Lillard's 35-point first-half performance in Game 1. And the Clippers will take on Dallas. They're up 1-0, despite not having Kawhi Leonard, and probably won't have Kawhi Leonard for the game on Tuesday night, questionable with a knee injury. The Jokic brothers are back into it. So there's video that has surfaced online of the Jokic brothers getting into it. I don't know if the guy was a Nuggets fan or a Lakers fan, but one of those big meatheads just stepping over people in the stands, confronted some guy. That guy barked something back, and one of the Jokic brothers punched him in the face. Now, credit to the guy that took the punch. He kind of took it and wore it. It knocked him back a little bit, but then he kind of went on his way. The brothers followed him. I don't know what happened after, if they followed him in the tunnel or in the concourse and did something else. But here's my thing to anyone go to these games. Don't screw around with these two. Okay. Do you see them? Do you look at how big they are and how tatted up they are? These guys are going to gut somebody at a game. Stop screwing around with these guys. Anybody, Nuggets fan, Lakers fan, anybody. Stop it. Don't screw around with them. We mentioned this yesterday, but it's out today. I'm working with the group Iconic Sonics Podcast. Not familiar with it? Check them out on any of your podcast platforms, covering all things Sonics. They're coming back. It's coming back. Everyone knows they're coming back. So this week, their first episode with me hosting, along with former Sonics coach George Karl, is out. It's out today. Go check it out wherever you find your podcast. Iconic Sonics Podcast. George Karl and I, 45 minutes. We sit down. He recently just went to Oklahoma City. He talked about that experience, how weird it was for him, how odd it was to go there and watch them, knowing that was his former team that he used to coach, that former organization that was so near and dear to his heart. We talked about the state of today's NBA game. How would he adjust to the way the game is played now? How would he adjust defensively? How to stop these guys? Who he likes in the league now, the teams that he likes. He broke down perfectly in that episode why he favored the Nuggets over the Lakers, because he said it comes down to two guys. Their two closers are better than the Lakers' two closers, Jokic and Murray. And then we saw it in game 2 with Murray closing them out. He also had something great about Jokic. He said Jokic, and you'll hear his explanation, is the best player. Not just now. He thinks Jokic is the best player he has ever seen. So go check it out. Iconic Sonics Podcast on any of your podcast platforms. Ron Francis quickly on the Kraken had his end of the year press conference. One would say non-committal about his head coach, and that being Dave Haxtell. Says, well, not going to answer about his future yet. We're not going to answer until we fully evaluate the staff. That he's gone. Doesn't it, right? Hockey people out there, you tell me on the YouTube comments. He's gone, right? There's no way he's bringing him back. He's bringing him back. Wouldn't he just say, yeah, he's back? I mean, they gave the guy last summer, a 2-year contract extension. Did he become an idiot in 1 year? And now you want to make a move? But it sure seems like Ron Francis will make a move, and they'll get rid of Ron Haxtell. I would ask you, I'm not going to pretend to be a hockey expert. I'm not. Okay, even though we call it pucksports.com and everyone comes here and they think we're talking hockey. I am not a hockey guy. But I think we always overcomplicate sports all the time. Like, you've got to be a hockey guy to understand hockey, a baseball guy to understand baseball. You have to be an NFL guy to understand the NFL. I don't think any of that's true, but I think you can watch a sport and understand how sports should be played and come to a conclusion, I think, on a team like the Kraken. I would ask you hockey fans out there watching and listening right now, tell me who scares you on the Kraken. Who scares you offensively? Who scares you as a playmaker? Who do you think on this team puts fear when the other team is getting ready for the game and doing their scouting report? What player do they, when they sit there on the chalkboard, I know they don't use the chalkboard anymore. Okay, just run with it. Who scares you? Okay? Who puts fear in you? I mean, for Haxtell, you can only coach the talent that you're given, right? Does he have a lot of talent? Matty Beniers didn't have a good season. He was the rookie of the year last year, but he took a step backward. I mean, did he win it last year because he truly was great? I mean, does he put a fear in you? Remember how the buzz about Shane Wright? Shane Wright done anything? I mean, to me, again, just an observer of the Kraken from far away, not invested in it like some of you are who are listening and watching right now with the Kraken. To me, this was more of a Ron Francis problem this year and an ownership problem of putting talent on the ice rather than a coaching problem from Dave Haxtell. Now, there were times where they went into these ruts and they couldn't pull out of it, and that's certainly coaching, sure. And he shouldn't be immune to blame. But to me, it's more about the group that was put out there rather than the coaching it received. Okay, lastly, before we wrap it up, the Daily Puck Drop, the DPD. I guess two more things. One, I think Delta Burke may be onto something. You guys remember Delta Burke? Designing Women actress. Do you guys remember that show, Designing Women? Okay. Well, she apparently has told people she's been trying to lose weight forever. Me too. And probably you out there as well. And she said she tried all these diet drugs. You know what she tried for a little while? And she says it helped, but then she realized, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Crystal meth. She started using crystal meth to lose weight. She said, I would go 5-6 days without eating, and I lost weight, but realized I'm addicted to crystal meth, so I should probably get out of it. You don't say, huh? You got addicted to a drug that's probably not good for you. She said that she wouldn't snort it. They were telling her that she had to chop it up and snort it. She wouldn't do it. So she just chopped it up anyways and put it in cranberry juice and drank it. So here's mine. I'm drinking it right now. Those listening, I've got a coffee that I put in crystal meth into it. So let's see if it works. We'll give it 5 days. I'm clearly joking. All right. For everyone listening out there and watching, there's no crystal meth in there. You know what that's loaded with? Cream and sugar. Because this is what this body is built on. Cream and sugar. We mentioned it yesterday. I want to mention it one more time before we leave. Go to pucksports.com. There's the contact tab that's up in the right-hand corner. There's going to be another tab up there soon that will specifically say voicemails. But right now, leave us voicemails. Tape it record it on your phone, a little voice recorder, 30 seconds plus. Okay, we're looking for all old characters, Jamal Adams, Pete Carroll, Jim Nantz, others, and record it. You don't have to have those characters. You can just leave anything that you want. We'll play the best ones every Friday on the end of the daily puck drop. Just record it on your phone, 30 seconds plus. I'll edit them up, and we'll play the best ones coming up on Friday. But I want to bring it back. Voicemails on pucksports.com, the contact tab. Just send me an email right there with the audio attachment. We'll play the best ones. Okay, reminder, because that's it for the daily puck drop, the DPD. Every day at 10 a.m. we drop this. Coming up later on the Tuesday program, John Canzano, his weekly appearance, brought to you by Zeke's Pizza. We cover everything, a lot on the NFL draft, the guys, the specific guys going into the draft, the quarterbacks from the Pac-12. We talk about why Kirk Schultz is stepping down, and so we'll get his thoughts on that. That drops at 1 o'clock. Also dropping at 1 o'clock, Danny Kelly from The Ringer, NFL Fantasy Football Pod. He does the NFL Draft Show on The Ringer. Just all things NFL there with Danny Kelly. He's got his latest mock draft, his big board up at The Ringer. Just go to The Ringer, look for NFL Draft, and look for Danny Kelly. That episode drops at 1 o'clock today. So please go check it out. As always, thanks for watching on YouTube. Leave comments below. Thanks for listening on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you find your podcasts. Please, 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 please rate the show. Please like the show. Please subscribe to the show. It all helps with all the metrics and everything. And please, 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 if you can leave a comment, that would be massively beneficial to moi. All right? We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, we promise to be better.
No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!